everybody. Welcome. Welcome to another episode of the Adrienne Ross Show. And we have a show for you today. I've got Carter. He's waiting to come on. And I'm noticing, just had an opportunity to look at some of the comments, and I'm noticing that you guys are pumped. Yes, Chris T is in the house, and I love me some Carter. Michael, oh, this is a good collaboration. Kelly Marie cannot wait. Wow, you put that early. She said, see you in 3 hours. It's the dream team. Juxtaposed Joker. All right. Okay. Awesome collab, Athena. This will be excellent. RLI, Arlie, I like Convos with Carter. He does an excellent job covering the WNBA. Very articulate young man. I look forward to the show. Elmer Fudd. Are you sure it's not AZ Fudd? Elmer Fudd, what a treat. Two of my favorite Fantastic Fever commentators joining forces. SSS says, this is so awesome. Love it. Karen, now you made me really happy with this collaboration. Wow. Nick, new WNBA fan here. Thanks to you both for all the content and recent education. Okay, there's so many of you in the chat, filling up the chat. I'm not going to waste any time. I'm going to bring him on while we do the pleasantries. Okay? The pleasantries. We're going to have Carter come on. Then I'm going to tell you a little bit about him, and then we're going to go from there.
What's up?
Hello. Hi.
How's it going?
It's going well. How are you doing?
I'm doing well. Do I sound well? Am I too loud? Too little?
No, you sound great.
Cool.
How about me?
I love to see everybody in here.
Yeah. Am I screaming your ears off? Because I can get really loud.
No, you sound perfect. You seem like you do this a lot. It's my first time on the air.
Is it really?
Yeah, I've never went live
stream.
before.
Oh my goodness. Well, I got to tell you that it's not the first time you've been mentioned. Like, someone has mentioned your name in the past and said, you need to get on with Carter. But then just a few days ago, I'm like, I really want to reach out to him. I just had that thought. And then someone had sent me a text message. We were texting, and she said to me, you need to have him on your show. I think that would be so good. You two would mesh so well. And I'm like, I just had that thought yesterday. And then someone else on the channel had DM'd me on Instagram, and she was just sharing something that you had put up. And I said, yeah, I saw that earlier today. So it just must be the right time, Carter.
Must be.
Exactly.
Must be.
Yes. Well,
I watch your content all the time.
Oh, excellent. Thank you. Yeah. Well, apparently everybody in here is familiar with you. And I just want to say welcome everybody. If I didn't call your name, I'm sorry about that. I want to dive right in first of all. So welcome all of you, all the Rossies and everyone else who's in the house. So appreciative of you. Okay. Carter, thank you for taking the time, to do this. And I want to, for those who don't know, because I didn't know this specific detail here, but you sent me information. Let me find it here. That this is, of course, Carter over with Convos with Carter. And let me go ahead and put this up on the bottom so people can make sure that they see where to find you. Yes. There we go. Okay. So for those of you who are not already subscribed, you're going to want to subscribe to Convos with Carter. All right. So I didn't know this, but you let me know that you have been covering professional basketball for over 4 years now. You specialize, as everyone who's watched your work knows. Oh my goodness. I gotta point something out. Someone just said he specializes in breaking down the film of the games in his videos, and he loves to give his take on all things on and off the court. And I'm laughing. I stopped because is it Lubit Noons or is that an I? Coach Carter. I thought that was perfect because they called me Coach at times and you're Carter. So great movie, by the way. All right. Yes. All right. So 4 years. Have you been covering the WNBA for all those 4 years? And if not, if so, what brought you to doing it? And if not, why not?
No, I actually was covering the NBA. I didn't get too much traction doing that. Uh,
Mm-hmm.
the reason I didn't cover the WNBA is because me and all my friends usually would laugh at anybody who would watch the WNBA. Not,
Mm.
we had anything against women basketball players, but if you just watched any of the games, it just wasn't exciting, especially coming from the NBA. And
Mm-hmm.
when we started watching the WNBA was Caitlin Clark. Actually, it was Paige Beckers.
Mm-hmm.
Originally, it was Paige Beckers. I saw some clips online and I started to get into it. I watched a few games. I was like, who is it? Actually, no, I'm lying. It was Sabrina Ionescu.
Oh
It was
wow.
it. Yeah, it goes pretty far back. Then it was Paige, and then I didn't actually start watching games seriously.
Mm-hmm.
And March Madness, Caitlin Clark, I saw like on ESPN on Instagram, like she hit this crazy shot. I was like, who is this chick? So I came home from church one day, and I remember I just turned the game on and I was casually watching it, and then like it transferred into the beginning of the WNBA season. I watched a few games and I realized that people were talking about the Caitlin Clark turnovers and they were just wrong. They were just wrong. And so I just made a video. I was like, the truth about her, turnovers. And there was an audience there. So I just
Well,
kept talking
listen,
about
listen. I got to stop you here because I want to point this out. I don't have any notes. So I totally wanted to be like, okay, let's just be fresh and just, I wanted to be more like a conversation than an interview, but please forgive me if I start asking you a whole lot of questions. Cause I really like to ask questions, and something you said jumped out at me, and I'm trying to figure out where it just went in my brain. There it is. You said people were talking about the turnovers, and you were like, no. Well, she does have quite a few turnovers. So I need you to break down, Mr. Breakdown. Why do you say no, it's not like that?
it's because she's for one, she's the greatest playmaker in WNBA history. Let's just get that out the way. Like if you've seen the passes she makes, like
Mhm.
no joke, she's literally throwing passes that nobody has like for lack of a better word, the balls to throw. Like she's throwing passes that nobody throws. Like she's getting it in the gaps that,
Mhm.
like, I just haven't seen anybody do that. And so Caitlin Clark has the ability to pass the ball like no other. And when
Mhm.
you're looking at the turnovers, they're not bad decisions. They're not like her just being stupid with the basketball. It's literally her just experimenting, trying new things. And when you try new things, you're going to have big failures, but big success is going to
Yes.
lead to big failures. And so, like, if you watch the games, and you look at like eight assists, 8 turnovers in those first few games, you'd be like, oh, she's playing horrible. But like, no, she's just getting a feel for her teammates, and she's still doing something greater than what anybody is doing. And once she gets those turnovers down, like she's gonna be a superstar. And that's what I was trying to say initially. And she did
Yeah.
get them down, and she's still great.
Yeah. You know what? You just said a whole mouthful, because the people who have the ball in their hands the most are going to generally have the most turnovers. Whether you're talking about Diana Taurasi, whether you're talking about LeBron James. And I'm thinking from a coach's perspective, just as you said, because the way she passes the basketball, I'm willing to take the risk, right? I'm willing to have her play free and take that risk. And okay, so she might get a turnover here and there, but what's the reward on the other side of that, right?
Right. Yeah, that's a big reward.
Yeah. So I'm going to ask you this question. This is a teacher in me. So I'm going to ask you a true or false question, because you said you used to laugh at people who watch the WNBA. True or false? And then elaborate. You love the WNBA. True or false?
False. Big false. Big
Big
false.
false.
Do not love the
All right. So
WNBA.
he
No.
does not love the WNBA. So if you're in the chat, I say the same thing to you. You love the WNBA. Put true or false in the chat while we have Carter elaborate on that. Why the big false? You are covering it and doing so well, and people are following you, and they're like, look at this young man who's breaking it down, and yet you're telling us a big false to loving the WNBA. Now I'm seeing one true and the rest of them are false so far. What do you mean false?
Look, I love women's basketball, and I love women hoopers who can hoop.
Mhm.
There's a lot of players. For one, if we're just talking about the WNBA, I take that
Mhm.
as the organization. The organization is trash. Just look at the investigation. I just saw that they called off the investigation. It was I made a post on Twitter about it. Like, what are we doing, man? Like, it's laughable that we even had the investigation in the first place based on Twitter fodder, and then it comes to like literally anybody with the brain could have told you that there was nothing bad happening at that game. Everybody who I saw that was actually at the game in Indiana, even though I wasn't there, they were saying that nothing happened at the game. If something did happen at the game, I'm sure we would have heard about it on the air. You would have had people getting escorted. There was no videos, no cameras, no nothing. And then you have them make a whole investigation, making it public, and you're adding into this drama that doesn't really need to be there. Can we just appreciate basketball? That's what we need to be doing. But it seems like this league is more of like a show for a lot of people. And I just, if you go back to the WNBA before Caitlin Clark, they've been in debt for a very long time now. It's literally been Adam Silver coming in to save them all the time. So if you ask me if I like the WNBA, if I'm a supporter of no. But I do like women's basketball, and I do think there are some cold hoopers like Hannah Hidalgo. You got Juju Watkins. You got Caitlin Clark, obviously. You got Kelsey Mitchell, like Aaliyah Boston. We probably would have never known about a lot of these players if it wasn't for Caitlin Clark. But now that we see them, they need to be displayed on a bigger level. And I know I'm giving you way more than you asked me for, but seriously, like I can't really ask, like, I don't know.
Yeah.
I can't ask any questions that would give me any good answers as to why the WNBA, that's a bad way to say that. I don't think anybody ever could give me any good reasons or persuade me onto liking the WNBA. It just doesn't, I don't know. Like, it's just.
So, well, why? So how do you hang in there? Because a lot of people feel the way you feel. Now, there are some people who say a lot of great teams, but I'm looking, people, a lot of false. Why are you hanging in there? Because there are people right now with Caitlin Clark's injury who are saying that they're not going to even watch. I'm talking about even Fever fans. I got to be honest, that's something as a fan I don't get. Like, I get like not watching other teams, but as a Fever fan and a Caitlin Clark fan, I can't understand. I mean, people do what they want to do. But personally, I don't understand. If I'm supporting Caitlin, then how do I not support the team that's going to help her when she comes back so that they can make that playoff push? And I recognize that a team is not just one person, right? So why do you hang in there? Tell these folks, because some people ain't hanging in.
If you're not going to watch the Fever because Caitlin Clark got injured, you're not a fan of the team. Let's just put it that way. Because if you're supporting Caitlin Clark wants you to watch the games because she's a team player. The whole point of her game is to get her teammates involved. She's the greatest playmaker in WNBA history. I like saying that because it's like a real flex. Like, she really is, though. Look at it. Look at the stats. All the records. Like, she's the greatest in WNBA history. She wants to get her teammates involved. You would obviously want to watch the games. And as to why I hang in there, just, covering the sport, I mainly talk about the Fever. I've made like little sprinkles of videos about other teams in there. It's because I do find some of the league exciting. I do find players that are fun to watch. I think Paige Beckers can be fun to watch, but she's more annoying to me because she doesn't do what I know she can do out there. Like, she has the ability, but sometimes she's just deferring too much. And I said that on my channel. And there's some other players that I like watching, like Sabrina Ionescu. I think Aja Wilson is very cold. I think Nafisa Collier, she's very cold as well. I don't know if I'm saying her name right, but I don't enjoy watching them, just generally because they have boring games. But there are some players in the league that are fun to watch. Now, for the most part, it's just give the ball down to the big man and you let Jonquel Jones go to work every single game. And that's just not fun. Like, I want to see you pull from 40. Like, I'm a Steph Curry fan. I started watching basketball primarily because of Stephen Curry. So like, I want to see you do something crazy. There's not a lot of that in the league, but you do see it sometimes. And so like, that's why I hang in there. I don't watch every single team just to say I watch every team, but I watch what's fun.
So it's interesting that you said that because it seems to me, I mean, I used to be a huge NBA fan and I'm not anymore. I'm not a huge, NBA fan, but I was a big fan. And now, though, the game has changed so much, like with Steph Curry and the 3-point shot. The thing that people complain about with the NBA right now is that people are just pulling up and shooting threes. And some people feel like that has negatively impacted the game. But I noticed that when it comes to the women's game, they want to see that. So how do we explain that dichotomy? Maybe is the right word. Or how do we explain why we want to see in the women's game what people are saying they're tired of seeing in the men's game, and maybe they shouldn't be? Are you tired of seeing Steph Curry pull up from the parking lot?
I'm not. I think I'm not tired of Steph Curry doing it. I'm tired of, like, if Jeff Teague was in the league, I'd be tired if he was doing it. Like, there's some guys that don't need to be doing it. But I think what
Okay.
you're describing is just like the battle of generations, or actually, I won't even say that. It's really the battle of extremes, because like you have the WNBA, it's extreme, feed it down to the big man, layups, paint, playing. And then in the NBA, it's just extreme, shoot it at the 3-point line, extreme pulling it from 40s. Like, you need a good mixture. And
Yeah.
so you have a little bit too much on one side, a little bit too much on the other side. We need to just get a good flow in there.
Yeah, that's good. That's good. Too much of a good thing or too much of a bad thing, right?
Right.
So you use the word trash in reference to something like the WNBA to a certain extent. I did a video several months ago in which I said there were 5 things that I would do ASAP if I were commissioner of this league. Oh, is that a dog? I'm like, I hear a dog barking. Like, it's certainly, I was like, I got one cat right here. I know my cat's not barking.
That's funny. Yeah,
So,
that's a dog.
beware. So I did that video, 5 things I would do ASAP. Now I just want you to put on the commissioner's hat, because Kathy Engelbert, I mean, people give it to Kathy Engelbert. Like, she is, and you really got to look at Adam Silver also, what they've created. What is something or things that you feel are necessary for this league to survive? Now, I know it's already been 28, 29, it's almost 30 years in this league. I understand that. So in a sense, it has survived. So let me change the word. Thrive. Like, what is necessary from the top to make people answer the question true when I say you love the WNBA?
That's a good question. One thing I said in one of my recent videos was that you need just more people shooting the ball. But I would say the better thing to say is you need more people who have the guts to shoot crazy shots. I feel like a lot of players in the WNBA are pressured to play a very team style of basketball. It's like a very play-oriented style of basketball. In the NBA, you see a lot of ISO. And just from what I've seen from the WNBA, there's just not a lot of ISO, like at the top of the key. There's just a lot of passing the ball around, running coaches play. Like, nah, I want to see you do what Steph Curry did to make Steve Kerr, like, put his hands on his head. Like, why did he shoot that shot? Like, I want you to do things that make me go, like, what the heck? Like when Jordan, started dunking from the free throw line, I wasn't around to watch those games, but they say he was doing that. Like, do things that make people go, wow.
Yeah.
If he was, that's crazy. See, now you got Caitlin Clark. She's pulling it from the logo, and like, that's crazy. The crazy things are going to make people enjoy watching your game. You don't want to see the same thing all the time. A lot of people don't like the NBA because you're seeing the same thing all the time. Everybody's playing the same style of basketball, shooting it. And then, on another aspect, the WNBA definitely needs to, I'm not going to say that. I'm going to leave it at that for now.
Oh, all right. So I gotta press a little bit. I gotta push a little bit, because none of those things can Kathy Engelbert do. I mean, I don't know, but what can she do? I mean, to me, it's a horrible thing about your league if one player gets injured. And I'm talking about people are going up to people in the comments and like, hang in there. Come on, you got to stay in here. Like, even you're saying, if you're a fan, come on, they need, like, why do we have to coerce and instruct people to stay in a league of professional women's basketball players that's been around for like 3 decades? And a lot of people have Kathy Engelbert's name coming out of their mouth constantly. What's up with the leadership of this league that needs to change? That when one person, because other people are like, oh, they'll see now, everybody's going to go away. So what's Kathy Engelbert doing wrong?
I would say, for one, this is what I'm not really trying to go into, but we got to go here. It's personality of your better players, your best players that you promote. The personality of those players and the things that those players are into, a lot of people, they're like, I don't know about that. And there's a lot of players who are on Twitter and they're saying things that just it would make you not want to come support. Like, if you've had a player like Hannah Hidalgo, who's going to be pretty good, she's never probably going to get the media attention Caitlin Clark draws, right? But she's a player worth following. But you would probably never follow Hannah Hidalgo because of the Dejanay Carringtons. You would never want to support the league and find the good players who actually are worth supporting, because of those people who you really just want to stay away from. You know, you have the Aaliyah Boston. It's like, that's an amazing player on and off the court. You would obviously want to support this person, but if you don't want to support the entire league, then you're not going to get to the gems in the rough, right? And so I think what Kathy Engelbert can do is maybe try and, you know, maybe you can't change players. There's a lot of players in the NBA who are crazy, but like, you know, find them if they're just kind of put some reins on this thing. No going on Twitter. We don't need to know about your political opinion. Just play basketball. I don't need to know if you supported Donald Trump or Kamala Harris. I don't need to know what you think about the gas prices. Just play basketball. Like, find these players if they're out there talking on Twitter. Just shut up and play ball, and that's going to help you. And that's just part of building a business. That's just part of you know, just building a brand. You have to have a certain type of tone when you know, come online. You don't want to just say whatever. You don't say the things you say in the bed, but it seems like you have a lot of that in the WNBA, which is why you have a lot of people who hate the WNBA.
Right. Because some people are like, I just want to see basketball, right? Like, I mean, on here, I talk about sports and culture, whatever, but I'm not the head of the WNBA, but she doesn't. Like, okay, you mentioned Dejanay Carrington. So the eye poke situation was one. And then, so recently there was another situation. It seems a lot of people have said that why are people allowed to have nails that are like a mile long? But that doesn't ever get addressed. Some of the things that just seem simple. If you're going to come to Brittany Griner the other day, she was supposed to be interviewed on the sideline, and she stopped her interview to go after the official. Do you think, I mean, and there may be things we don't know about. Do you think, Carter, from what you've observed, that Brittany Griner got a phone call from the commissioner and said, don't do that anymore, and that there's a fine or anything like that?
I pray to God. I hope so. I hope so. That was crazy.
Wasn't it? Like,
it was insane. That was insane. That's probably the craziest thing I've seen from the WNBA.
I don't know. I mean, for real. I mean, that's almost as bad as Kalia Copper that time with the guy who was interviewing her, and he was like, "So, what did you do differently this time? What did you need to do?" And she was just like, "Is that a real question?" And she's like, "What did you see? What did you?" And that was back when Candace Parker was playing. I did a video on this last season. It's the fun. I mean, some people didn't think it was funny because it was so pathetic, but she was just like, "What?" And he said, "Well, you know, what's the difference? Like, last time you played a certain way and this time." And she's like, "What did you see us?" She's talking to the reporter. "What did you see us doing last time?" And he was like, "Well, last time, you know, you played better defense." "And what did you see this time?" And he was like, "Well, this time, not so much." And she's like, "So what? Are we done?" And she just got up and left.
That's what I call ghetto.
No, ghetto. For real. And Candace Parker was sitting there just trying to keep it together. I watched that thing over and over and over again. It's really pathetic, but it was so pathetic that it was funny. But I don't know that there are any consequences in the league. But anyway, so yeah, I agree. You want a more exciting brand of basketball, and you want the personalities. But some people don't believe, and we'll talk about Caitlin Clark. Some people believe that you need the drama to make the league continue to be relevant. In fact, someone once said in my live stream, I think it was during Unrivaled, and we're talking about Caitlin Clark, and someone said, she's too perfect. That's the problem. This wasn't a Caitlin fan. That's the problem we have with her. She never does anything wrong. What would you say to that?
I have a lot of things to say to that, but I'll put it this way. I'll put it this way. What you need is you need fans who want to watch your league because of the product that you see on the court.
Yeah.
So you should, like, drama is good, but it should be like on the court drama. Like what helps the NBA, you know, get out there? Like, okay, you go back to Magic and Bird. That was drama. It was a rivalry, but it was on the court. The rivalry between Caitlin Clark and Angel Reese is literally like between it's not a rivalry at all, actually. It's just, you know, you have a player that's not very, very, very good as far as she's a good role player. She plays her role really well. She gets rebounds, and that is the role she plays on the court, but she's not a superstar. And so the whole drama is about like black versus white. It's about like something that has nothing to do with basketball. You know, look at Steph Curry, LeBron James. That's good drama. Or, you know, when Draymond Green and Kevin Durant were on the same team, and then you had that whole drama between those two, and then KD wanted to leave, and people were saying it was because of Draymond. That's good drama, but it was on the court. We were talking about things that were on the court, and they're playing. You shouldn't have drama that revolves around like politics, because then you're marketing something that isn't actually what we get when we watch the WNBA. And so the WNBA does numbers on Twitter. Like there's people who make tweets and they get like 100K views, or I mean 100K likes. Yeah. Right. But that's not the traction you want to your actual league. That's not what's making you money. What's making you money is us watching you on the court.
So what about on the court, an Angel Reese getting up and going after Caitlin Clark after a take foul? Good or bad for the league?
That's bad for the league because it's because of the person. I think Angel Reese, she has done things that are just bad for the league. She's consistently done things, I think, as a person that, like, just clapping when Caitlin Clark, she stood up when Caitlin Clark kind of got hit to the ground by, I think it was Kennedy Carter. Yeah. That was bad. And so, like, as a person, like, she's just kind of making herself out to be the villain. And I know she said it, but I don't think that's good for the league. Just because, like, you're just marketing yourself as like just a generally unethical person. You're just not like a moral person. You're just clapping when someone gets injured and you want to injure people on the court, and you're kind of just being hateful. That's not good for the league, especially if that's like your second most popular player in the WNBA.
Yeah, I agree too. And I know, like you said, some real rivalries are good for the league. I don't consider that a real rivalry, but I think the people who sit on the cesspool known as social media and battle it out because of race and all these other things, and a lot of them, a lot of Angels fans, for example, does all that stuff translate to viewership? I mean, if you look at Unrivaled and you look at the numbers, no. Does it translate to people buying merch? Does it translate to people showing up at games? Or is it just people who are intent on keeping some kind of war going on between two players who should not, Carter, in my opinion, be mentioned in the same sentence? Why? I mean, why? Seriously, though, picking your brain, why is there such an intent to make Angel Reese a superstar? There are other players also who don't get the attention that they should get. And yet, if you're listening to a game in which she's playing, and I'm not going to stick here and just pick on Angel Reese. I'm just using her as an example because it's about me too, right? So we're going to talk about her too. Why? In my opinion, she's not a great basketball player. And that's not because I hate black people, as I've been accused. I just have watched the game, studied the game, played the game, coached the game. She can rebound the basketball. That takes a nose for the ball. I'm not going to, every coach has always yelled, rebound the ball from the sideline. I'm not saying it's not important, but superstar that they're doing, if you listen to these announcers, it's unbelievable the way they're like, she's relentless. I mean, they just hype it up so much and it becomes kind of nauseating, and it's not her fault, I guess, that they're saying that. Why are we doing this? And let me stop right here for a second. Throw this out. Kara, thank you so much. Kara says, love this collab. Thank you both. Please make it a series. Kara, I appreciate you. Thank you.
Thank you, Kara.
Yes. So tell us, I mean, what's going on? What do you see? Maybe you do see greatness or the potential for greatness.
In Angel Reese?
Yeah. Yes.
Yeah, that's crazy. No, it's like Andre Drummond.
What you did.
Andre Drummond is a good player in the NBA, but actually, no, let me not even go there. You asked me a question, why? Let me address your question. You said why? Well, Angel Reese and Caitlin Clark, this represents a problem that actually doesn't exist in America anymore, but a whole lot of black people think it exists in America. And I'm gonna put reins on this. We're not gonna go too far into this, but this is a problem that a lot of people think exists on a large scale in America. It probably exists on a very small scale, but they kind of live out their own fantasies in Angel Reese and Caitlin Clark, and they make it something that it's not. They make it like Caitlin Clark is, the bad slave master and Angel Reese is the victim. And in reality, that has nothing to do with the situation. But this is something that they've been fed by the media that exists on a large scale, which it does probably exist on a small scale.
Right.
But they feel like this has to be in this situation, and they're like, oh, this is the prime situation for us to finally be able to express this problem that we've been saying exists, but we've had no, proof of it existing, because it doesn't actually exist on a large scale, but we can use this to make it seem like it exists, and then we can finally get all of our opinions online. And it's just it has nothing to do with actual basketball.
Right.
A lot. I'm gonna leave it there.
Okay. Yeah, no, you said a mouthful right there. And I agree. And it just kind of saps, it kind of helps many people say false to the question I asked. And that was, do you love the WNBA? Because a lot of people are like, I don't, because I don't like people forcing, like I said, I can't, like, I don't like black people if I don't think Angel Reese is a great basketball player. I literally had some threats that they thought they were threatening me, but it was the fake TikTok account that somebody impersonating me. But I looked at those comments, and it was like literally they're gonna like threaten me, and it had to do with, we told you to leave Angel Reese alone. You're bullying her online. And I'm like, oh my goodness, like this is way out there and over the top. But for some, it is, why are you doing that like Ryan Clark? Like, why are you doing that to the sister? And it's like, it's basketball. Like, this is what this thing is. All right, let me acknowledge Redeemed Patriot. Redeemed Patriot, thank you so much for that. And the question is, Adam Silver the last true hope for the WNBA? Now, you're an NBA guy, right? What are your thoughts about Adam Silver? How would you answer that question?
Man, Adam Silver is, just because you got the position of commissioner does not mean you actually make a lot of the decisions. If you want to clean house and you want to make changes, you're going to have to change up the board of people who are in his ear. So I don't think Adam Silver is the last true hope, but I do think like the commissioner of the NBA for sure is the last true hope for the W. I mean, they've been supplying them with money for a long time. But the thing is, it's like when I forget what show, but I remember when LeBron James, Draymond, I can't remember everybody. I don't know if you guys remember when they went on the show with, it was maybe one WNBA player, and Draymond kind of just said something. He was like, man, we've been supporting y'all more than anybody. Us NBA players have been helping y'all more than anybody. Y'all act like we're the problem. And I remember when he said that. And it really also like is true for Adam Silver. Like, he's been giving them money. They've been saving them. Like, that's the whole point.
Yeah.
Of the WNBA branching off from the NBA.
Yeah.
So he's I don't think he's the hope. He's like their supply line right now. Like they're still all the fans of the WNBA that are coming over from the NBA right now. I think most of them probably watch NBA basketball. I know a lot of people in here don't, but I think a lot of people, probably most people, because like a lot of people that I know, the young guys like me that are watching Caitlin Clark right now, they're Steph Curry fans. I think that's the vast majority of them.
Yeah, that's good. Well, Steve Hampton, thank you so much for that donation. He said, please check out Rachel Demita's exposure of WNBA officiating. It's not what you think. I did see that. Actually, I saw it one time and a half that she just put out yesterday. Carter, and she was talking about what's behind the scenes and why officials are calling some of the calls that they're calling. And it was from someone who's an official who gives, or was an official who gives some information where they come from, and also what they're being asked to do and how they're being asked to dictate the game, which I thought was really interesting. So Steve, thank you for pointing that out. Rachel Demita, everybody. And once again, if you are not subscribed to Convos with Carter, make sure you do that. Convos with Carter on YouTube. All right. So let's talk about, we're going to get to more about the injury and all that stuff. But first, what have you, give me, we'll start with two. Give me two takeaways, anything, wide open. Two takeaways from this season so far. It's barely 2 weeks or something, if that, right? What are just wide open? What are two things that stand out to you about the league this season so far? Good, bad, whatever.
I think it's the battle of two extremes. You have Caitlin Clark, so good, so much better than she was, improved her game. The shot was looking pure until the last 2 games. But before
Yeah.
that, she was like 50% from the three, preseason through the first 2 games of the season. You know, she's great. And then the other extreme is just like incompetence. Like you got just people still being incompetent, the WNBA league launching the investigation. And you see the state of the W. It's like, it almost feels like Caitlin Clark is trying to pull them out of a ditch, and she's
Yeah.
got like a chain trying to pull them out. And then
Mhm.
like you got them like pulling the other way into the ditch, trying to just bring himself back down. All these things that are happening. Those are my 2 takeaways.
Mhm. Yeah. Well, you talk about Caitlyn trying to pull him out of a ditch. A lot of people feel like Caitlyn should pack her bags and go. Now, I have to say, and I don't know if you know my story, but I I used to watch the WNBA way back in the day before you were born. I'm sure. So in the early days, I was a big Houston Comets fan. Behind me, you'll see pictures of me and Cynthia Cooper and et cetera. So huge. I was a huge Cheryl Swoops fan as well. Really, had her jersey, everything. Cynthia Cooper, Cheryl Swoops, Tina Thompson, Kim Perrott, the whole thing. And then I left, other than catching a little bit here and there or whatever, and then it was Caitlin Clark. She brought me back. But I tell you what, I knew really soon. I said and did videos and wrote articles about this. I said, what I see from these ladies is that many would rather go back to basic obscurity. Nobody hardly watching. Now I got to tell you honestly, you'll probably find videos of me out there blasting people who used to blast the WNBA, blasting people who used to say nobody watches the WNBA, because I wasn't thinking about like masses. I'm like, people watch the WNBA. I'm watching the WNBA. I've been in the arena. Like, my mindset wasn't about viewership, wasn't about ratings. I was just like, people like the WNBA. And then I realized what they meant. They meant, no, people aren't watching the WNBA. And then I got it. But I used to get really offended by people who would say that. But when I came back and I started watching at the beginning of the season, I said, man, a rising tide lifts all boats. And yet people are fighting Caitlin Clark, and they would rather go back to basic obscurity than that she would be the face of the league. And that was just wild to me. And I'm like, ooh, okay. So I was like, when I started watching in the Kennedy Carter thing and the hard fouls and the 94 feet and the double, triple team blitz, all this, and I'm like, I want to, like, Caitlin, can you leave so I can leave too? Like, that was my thought. And a lot of people, some people are still saying that. I noticed in just the last day. Like, I wish she would just leave.
Yeah.
What are your thoughts about that? Do you have that same feeling, or do you want her to dig in? And is that over the top, that whole mindset? Like, you got to leave. You got to get out of here.
I think it's justified. I personally don't want to see her leave, because I'm just like and maybe this is my own toxic trait, but I just like a good underdog story. I like to see something that seems impossible happen, and I just want to see this league change for the better. I want to see the right people in the right seats, and I do think there's talent in the league. If what people are proposing is like you take Caitlin Clark and every single competent basketball player on and off the court, and you go off to some distant land and you make your own league there, I'm cool with that. But I don't think it's necessarily necessary, because I think it can be fixed. It's very simple. Just delete Twitter and work on your game, and stop feeding it down to the big man every single possession. Let's do something different. Let's think outside the box, and let's make people go, wow.
Wow. I just said it. Wow. Right. So yeah. One of the things I said in a conversation yesterday was on Facebook. Someone posted something about Caitlin, and I wish she would just leave and something like that. And one of the things I said, and you can tell me if you think I'm wrong, and I said this last year in a video, I think that Caitlin should have all the leverage in the world in this league, because she's the one people want to see. She's the one who brings in the money. But Caitlin grew up wanting to play in the WNBA, and everybody in the league knows it. And when they sense that you want them, they have the upper hand to a certain extent. When people sense that you are, I hate the word desperate, but this is her dream. And I think when people sense desperation, you no longer have the upper hand, even though it appears that you should, because they know that you want them as much as they need you. Correct me if you think I'm wrong.
No, you just said something. See, hey, everybody, she just said something. Clip this, and put this on. No, don't put it on TikTok. Stop impersonating this lady.
Yeah, don't
Please.
do it not under your name.
But no, seriously, that you just said something, because Caitlin Clark defers sometimes in interviews, and there she's pretty good at just avoiding the whole thing.
Yeah.
But I made a whole video about her comment when she was saying, it could have been a little bit out of context with that video. But when she was kind of saying that, she had a little bit of privilege, in her success, and that she was saying that there was a lot of players in the league in the past who deserved her success, and she wanted to shift it towards them. I'm like, no, but then you think about the fact that she's been wanting to play in the WNBA for her whole life, and that she looks up to these players. She probably looked up to a Cheryl Swoots who hates her guts, so she kind of defers. And so that's part of it.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. And I think knowing the weight that she carries, nobody had known. This is one of the things that I respect. Obviously respect her game, but one of the things I respect off the court, the way she handles herself, but no one ever knew that she was behind the scenes trying to make more money for these other players. When the Fever went there, or when they came to the Fever? When they came to the Fever, I forgot what it was, but she was behind the scenes trying to get more money for these players. And then it came out because it wasn't able to be done. But it wasn't like she was like, oh, listen, look how benevolent I am. And I was out there it's like, reminds me of the scripture, don't let your right hand know what your left hand is doing. Like, she didn't go out there and just try to, this is what I'm doing. Right. And so that's what, when she made that comment, I don't want to get all into that because I've spent a lot of time talking about that, but I'm like, you're already doing the things that people are trying to require of you. You're already uplifting. What you're not doing is saying, hey, there's the black lady. I'm so glad that she built the league. She's black. Look, everybody, she's black. Like, ultimately, that's what you want. Caitlin is just saying, I love Maya Moore. I loved her game. I grew up with her game. Not, I like the blackie. That would have been offensive. So that's why I was like, Caitlin, don't go there, because I find that more offensive than anything. It's not your job to uplift the black people. It's just your job to be you and utilize the gifts and talents that God gave you, and everybody else. She's never trying to put down other people. At least not in public. I got a feeling at home she'd be having some conversation.
No, that what is it? A boyfriend, fiance, husband? Yeah. I know they have some good conversations, because I've seen some stuff from him.
No, for real, because she's a human being. And so, but she's smart enough to know I'm not going to blast them in public. And she wants other people to respect them too. And a lot of people will determine that based on how they see them respecting her. Here's the thing too, Carter. I really believe that the majority of the players in this league are not like some of the nonsense that we've seen, but they get a bad rap because the culture of the league is so toxic in so many ways. Okay, so Sir Jax, your Fever starting 5 and fourth quarter defensive 5 to win the game without CC. Well, I'm going to hold off on that. Thank you so much for that. We're going to get into that because we're going to get into the injury. Thank you, Sir Jax. Make sure I don't forget that question there, Carter. Let me just see. Zane, WNBA just made a statement about the findings. Yes, we talked about that. I haven't even seen that. I just caught a quick comment and then Carter mentioned it. So that's good. That's good. And Marlene with the huge super sticker. Appreciate that so much. Okay, so that we get into the game. Caitlin Clark's injured, although she was out there shooting threes and shooting free throws and all that. I saw your video. You weren't feeling very positive about the chances of the team. You talked a lot about the connection between Caitlin Clark and Aaliyah Boston. You break down plays. That's what you do. You break down the game. So for those who didn't see your video, and guys, make sure you subscribe. What do you see the biggest problem in terms of Aaliyah Boston not having Caitlin Clark? Go for it.
Caitlin Clark draws defensive attention. I say that on my videos, but off that pick and roll, I want you guys to think about this. You never watched one of my videos, but next time you watch a Caitlin Clark game with Aaliyah Boston, I want you to look at that pick and roll. Look what happens every single time. Every time two defenders go with Caitlin Clark, and it gives Aaliyah Boston a wide open lane. That's like 70% of her points every single time she scores over 20. And so without that, it's going to be an adjustment. Aaliyah Boston was great before Caitlin, though. I mean, she was, I think, the rookie of the year before Caitlin came in. So Aaliyah Boston, I think she's going to be able to score the basketball, but she's not going to be able to get those easy deuces. And you're also not going to get those transition points with Caitlin Clark because, like, off that rebound, for one, Caitlin Clark is a very great rebounder, and people don't talk about it a lot. But if you want to be a great playmaker, you have to get those rebounds. Like, who's to say, even if Kelsey Mitchell can make that pass, is she going to get that rebound to be able to push it up the floor? And is she going to make that pass in that tight space? You're not going to do that. And so you're going to be playing a totally different style of basketball. My biggest problem is that they probably have not prepared too much for that, like the half court offense, especially without the player who would be heading the whole thing. You know, you're using her gravity in all the plays. Like, it's just going to be adjustment to a half court offense. But then the optimism is like, well, a lot of the players who you brought in, the vets, they're probably going to be better in a half-court offense. I think Caitlin Clark going out might be the biggest blessing for DeWanna Bonner because she's.
I was going to say that.
Trash.
Yeah, because she's 37 and trying to get up and down the floor, this whole different style. But I want to say something because Sophie, I put a video out, I don't know, hour and a half, 2 hours ago, whatever. And Sophie Cunningham said that, well, Stephanie White said that Sydney Colson is going to get the start. Now, I did a video yesterday and said I would start Sophie Cunningham at the point. That's me. But she says she's gonna start at least with Sydney Colson. So Sophie Cunningham in her comments today said that she intends when she's in there to play that same style of fast-paced basketball that Caitlin plays. That's the style she wants to play. Now, we know that Sophie was out. She was out for a while, so we haven't fully seen her a whole lot. But when you hear that, do you say good or do you go, mistake? Can Sophie push that ball up and...
that's good.
You think she can do it? You feel? Do you feel the same way about Sydney Colson?
I don't know. I think Sydney probably could. She seems like she has a great motor, a great engine, but you gotta be a scrappy player, always going for those loose balls to get those rebounds. That's my main thing. I mean, obviously, Aaliyah can get the rebound and then give it, but like those couple seconds matter. Like when you're watching those plays and you're going back over them, like those couple seconds of getting the rebound, passing it, to throw that ball up the court, like it matters. So I think Sydney could do it, but you know, because she does play with energy, she plays with effort, but. I mean, neither of them are going to fill Caitlin Clark's shoes. I mean, but you can kind of feel it for a second, maybe. I don't know.
Yeah. So what are your thoughts about how this team will fare without her? Let's just say it is only 2 weeks. I mean, 2 weeks only meant that she will be reevaluated in 2 weeks. We really don't know how long she'll be out. You mentioned it could be a blessing. Do you think that this team they put together is much less effective, a whole lot less effective than without Caitlin Clark, to the point where they can't win games?
We're going to see, but I think so. Because, I mean, if you just look at players who do as much as she does on the court, like in the last game, I think she was responsible for like 40 points, give or take 1 point in that game just from points and assists. And then they scored like 88 points in that game. So she like her usage rate is like skyrocketed. You look in the NBA players who have usage rates like that. If you look like James Harden in his prime, Luka Doncic in his prime, LeBron James. When those players aren't on the court and you take that same team, like historically, those teams just look bad because everything is going through this one player. And when you take that player away, you know, you have to totally shift the way you play. But I do think it could be a really good thing because they are running Caitlin Clark to the ground. She cannot play every single game for every single game of her career. And I mean, what I mean is every single game. I mean, the full part of every single game is what I meant to say. She can't play like 40 minutes every game. And it seems like she's been doing that. You need her to like sit out for maybe like 7 minutes would be perfect. You can have 7 minutes every game where Caitlin Clark is on the bench,
Mm-hmm.
but they look like a total different team without there. And it must be so bad because Stephanie White doesn't even want to put her on the bench. So what we're going to see without Caitlin Clark is probably going to be pretty bad because you've already seen Stephanie White not wanting to put her on the bench.
Well, it's going to be either really bad or they're going to always say one or two things can happen, right? It's going to be totally fall apart because they hadn't prepared for it, or they're going to kick up into another gear. Now, Boru, forgive me if I pronounce it wrong. I take exception at this comment. I hope they lose every game without her. Everybody needs to learn who the boss is. So I'm going to address it first. And then if you want to address it, Carter, you can. So here's my thought. Clearly not a Fever fan, right? A Caitlin Clark fan for sure, but definitely not a Fever fan. And I don't even know if you're a Caitlin Clark fan because Caitlin Clark's trying to get to the playoffs and trying to win. But the boss is the team. Now you've got stars on the team. You got leaders on the team, but it takes a team to win. Maybe it's just me. It's a whole new brand of fan that is, I've noticed. I do live streams during the games. I've never seen anything like it. I've never seen where, like, for example, it's 2 minutes into the game and people are like, oh goodness, it's over. They'll never win a championship. I'm like, it's the first game of the season and we 2 minutes in. Like, what are you talking about? You know what I mean? I just can't wrap my brain. And that kind of mind, not to make an example of you, but you posted it publicly so I can address it publicly. I can't wrap my brain around thinking that way. Can you?
I can see where he's coming from. Obviously I don't agree with that. I just,
right. I mean, I can see where he's coming from, but
yeah, like it's, I would say this, like, hoping they lose every single game without her isn't necessarily going to propel her career. If you're trying to get at her becoming a leader and them understanding that she is like the motor that gets the whole ship going, cool. I agree with that. But then I think they already know that. And I think just from the team, like everybody on the team is pretty with Caitlin Clark. I think what we see a lot of in this day is a lot of people who have the wrong ideas about players in the WNBA because they've seen certain players and they've seen certain hate, and now they're like assuming everybody has that hate. And it kind of goes back to what we were talking about earlier. The players on the Fever love Caitlin. They have a great culture there. I don't think they need to learn who the boss is. They already know who the boss is. There are times where Kelsey Mitchell's going ISO and it's like, whoa, chill down. You know what I mean? There are times where DeWanna Bonner shoots shots and I'm like, what are you doing? And there's times where Caitlin Clark doesn't touch the ball and Stephanie White has her playing off ball. And you want to see more of Caitlin Clark always having the ball in her hands. But on those situations, I like to think of like not just everybody else. I like to think of Caitlin too. Like, I think there's an aspect of Caitlin not wanting or deferring just a little bit. I think she's just naturally like that, and she naturally wants to see her teammates shines. So even though there are times where she doesn't have the ball and you're like, oh, they need to give her the ball more. Caitlin Clark is just that kind of person.
Well, I think too, first of all, to your comment, Boru, that the truth hurts, ain't nothing hurting me. You posted it. I gave you the spotlight. So if you're going to put it out there, then, deal with it. So, my thing about Caitlin off the ball, I don't have a problem with Caitlin playing off the ball at times. It takes a lot of work to be on the ball when they're guarding you, grabbing you 94 feet, whatever. What I have a problem, and I mean sporadically. I don't want to see her off the ball, but I mean sporadically. But my problem is that at times when the ball is inbounded to her after a made basket, she gets open, give her the ball. Like, if she's face guarded and she's being denied, it doesn't mean you can't get the ball back to her. And that's one of my problems with Kelsey Mitchell, because Kelsey Mitchell head down and she just knows one speed, right? And even in the half court at times when Caitlin's off the ball and they're running screens and she gets open, sometimes they just don't give her the basketball. I don't think that's a Stephanie White decision to make. I think that's poor execution on their part. And they know they need to shore up their execution defensively and offensively. But just because and momentarily, like, give it back. You know what I mean? That's what I'm saying. Like, but it's a lot of it's a lot of like you said, like she needs time to sit. Also, there are times she can not have the ball in her hand the whole time, but I'm hearing comments, I'm seeing comments from people at times like she's just standing in the corner. I'm like, well, I haven't seen a whole lot of standing in the corner, but I think they just need time to gel. And this is what I said all along. Everybody acted like, well, they got this team, they're gonna come in here and bust everybody down. And I said numerous times, it is sometimes more difficult to coach a lot of talent than it is to coach scrubs. It really is. And so everybody is adjusting. So what I don't get is that people who just were like throwing coaches under the bus. So let me get to Ashley's comment, and then I'm gonna read something I saw in the comment section today. I hope the person who, and I say, I don't mean the live stream, I mean in another video. Ashley, thank you so much for that, Ashley. She said, how much do you think Cece's injury will affect the team gelling with her and her style of play? Could have more long-term effects during this important learning each other period. You want to address that, Carter? How much will her injury affect the team gelling with her and her style of play?
It's going to affect it a lot. I actually talked about this in the video I made yesterday. I think that's one of the bigger things about this, because WNBA season, for one, the season is very short. That's something I should have added in there, things that they can improve. Make the season longer. It's like a half of a year thing. The season is just so short. There's not that many games. So like every single game matters, especially if you're ramping up to be a championship team. One thing about being a championship team is that you have to be very connected. Everybody has to know everybody. You have to know what everybody's trying to do on the court. When you have a new team, these new creations that you're putting together, they oftentimes fail because there's not enough chemistry, and there's not a lot of games in the WNBA once again. So every single game matters. If she's going to be out for 5 games, 2 weeks, and then what if it's 3 weeks and it's 7 games? Like that's going to be a big break to their gelling period.
Yeah. And then she comes back in. This is what I said when Sophie Cunningham got hurt, because I said, okay, so the coach is trying to figure out the lineups, the rotations and all that. And then I said, Sophie's going to come back in, and then that's going to put another twist in it. Right. And so it's all, I mean, I don't know that it's a problem gelling in terms of, relationships with one another, because she's going to be with the team and she's going to be in practice and all that. Like I did the video today with her out there working in the, she's high-fiving the team. They're hugging her, that's there. But when it comes to on the court, it is going to throw a monkey wrench in it. So now we've got to adjust to another. It's a challenge. When one player gets hurt, it affects the whole team. And so good question. But I want to address this question that I got earlier in a comment on a video, because I think it's important. Now, people are they may disagree with me, but y'all know I don't care. I'm gonna say what I believe, right? But someone said, AR, I respect your opinion. You have played and coached and are pretty impartial. Many are criticizing White and the way she's coaching and handling Clark. They're even saying she looks happy about Clark being out. Would you please address that tonight? Now, there's a lot of talk about how she's handling Clark, like off the ball, and I get that. But I want to address the part about her looking happy that she's hurt. I want to say what I got to say first. I'm going to throw it to you. You got to understand, first of all, I disagree that she's happy that Caitlin is hurt. She's known Caitlin since junior high. She's not happy. A coach or a teacher, and I've been both. What you want to do is make sure people don't flip out, right? Stephanie White is not going to go in front of the camera and say, oh my goodness gracious, it's over. We might as well pack it up, everybody. That's not what you do. When Dawn Staley bugged out in the NCAA tournament in the championship game on the sidelines, when there was third quarter? It might have even been second quarter. There was plenty of time for a comeback. She's up there. You could read her lips. She's cussing. She's throwing her hands up in the air. And we did a whole video about that. And we said, your players are looking to you and feeding off of you. If you act like it's over, then they have no confidence. You have got, first of all, these are professional basketball players. You want them to believe that they can get out there and get the job done and everything doesn't fall apart because of one player. These are people who've won championships. They're all-stars. So you want to do that, but you also have to create the image of calm so that they don't fall apart either. They know what a big piece Caitlin Clark is. Nobody came in free agency expecting this. So what is she supposed to do is my point. You're going to be calm. You're going to say everything is going to be all right. She's going to learn from this. We're going to learn from this. You got to look like you're upbeat and you believe that you can win. If you don't believe you can win and you portray that, then you might as well not show up. That's my thinking. You?
I agree wholeheartedly. Yeah, I agree. I would have to see the interview. I saw clips of it, but saying she's happy, I would need to watch the whole thing to see but I still don't even think the interview could tell you if she was happy about that. Usually when I go into things like this, I just try to think critically. If she were to be happy, and I know the commenter said that people were saying it, but if she actually were, and the people's claims are right, she probably wouldn't want to show it unless she was just dumb. And I don't think Stephanie White is the type of person that's dumb. And so just thinking about that critically, I'm pretty sure she probably wasn't showing her happiness. And so if we're just going off the looks, it's probably not anything that's good to go off of in that situation.
Yeah.
But I agree with you wholeheartedly.
Yeah, so no, she's not that and the person who asked it was not the one who was saying it. The person was saying other people are saying that she didn't look a certain way. So I don't know what they expected her to do, but yeah, she might behind the scenes with the other assistant coaches say, we got to figure this thing out. But to my players, I gotta play with what I have. I can't control that, so. All right. Was there a question or comment that I missed? Anything else? Oh, yeah, I think I missed a few. Let me see here. Angie Breedlove, thank you so much. So appreciated. Thank you for all of your support. It means a whole lot. And Mary in Texas, Super Sticker Mary. Thank you. Thank you so much. Okay. All right, I think this is another question. David says, should Angel play for a different team? Do you see Angel getting traded? Will Angel want to play for Minnesota? Carter, since you were the one when I said something about a superstar in the making or something, and you nearly, if you were drinking, it probably would have been on your desk. What do you think about that? Should she play? Have you had a chance to watch Chicago at all this year yet? Okay.
Yeah.
So what's your breakdown about Tyler Marsh, about whether he can coach this team?
I don't know. I didn't do like a whole deep analysis. I saw a game, and I'm gonna say this about Angel Reese. Mm-hmm. She is a role player. How many teams has Andre Drummond played for? She is the NBA comparison. Let me look it up. Andre Drummond. How many teams did he play for? And how many times did Andre Drummond win? Anybody know that? Let me check. This man played for, we know he paid for the 76ers, the Bulls, the Lakers, the Cavs, and the Pistons. Was that like 5 teams? Played for a lot of teams. You know how to get rebounds. You can get 14 of those a game. Then you can put them on any team. But you also miss a whole lot of layups and you do dumb stuff on the court. That's what Andre Drummond is known for. And Angel Reese misses so many layups. And she's also unorthodox. She's been turning over the ball a lot. So even though she plays her role really well, she's got to work on a few things. And can she play for another team? Yeah. I mean, if you know how to utilize a player like Angel Reese, like if she was playing with Caitlin Clark, Angel Reese would probably be 10 times better because Caitlin Clark is, as long as Angel comes up, sets a good screen, and then you roll to the basket, actually make your layup, you can thrive, especially getting all those rebounds. Just get the rebound, give it to Caitlin. But, if that's like the centerpiece of your team, then that's probably not going to work. So should she get traded? I mean, I'm not going to say there's a good place for her besides like, she's going to play with a great playmaker, maybe like a Natasha Cloud, obviously Caitlin Clark. But I don't know. I think she needs to just improve her game before I can say whether or not she needs to go anywhere. It'll be better for her. Well, what's better for Angel Reese is learning how to make layups. You have a role, work on that. Stop working on the shooting, work on the layups.
What about this point forward thing? That's what the coach said. Well, he said she's she's out on she's bringing the ball up the floor. She's out on the perimeter. He said he was modifying so that he could go through Camila Cardoso more. But I'm not impressed with Camila Cardoso, honestly. I mean, she's 6'7", but that she doesn't play 6'7". So Angel, he wanted her more on the perimeter, more taking mid-range shots. And so I don't know. I think some of that is in her head too, because she's learning a slightly different role. And so, and I don't know if there is a coach, even if she were traded. I don't know if there's a coach, I mean, maybe, who has what it takes to say you're coming off the bench. I think it would be an absolute uproar, and I think they know it. And I don't know who would do it. Who would do it? What coach would say? I mean, Cheryl Miller, maybe Cynthia Cooper. I don't know.
Coach Adrian, Coach Carter.
Coach Carter. That's right. You're Coach Carter. Yeah, I don't know. It'd just be interesting. Okay, Angie, thank you again. She said, what do you think the officiating will look like without CC there? So that really is a good segue into this thing about officiating. What have you noticed about the officiating this season? Again, Rachel Demita, who is on YouTube, did a whole video about that. But what have you seen? And we can even start with the game against New York. There were 3 plays. I feel they dropped the ball, excuse the pun. What are you seeing with the officials? Do you think there's a conspiracy? And if you feel like answering that, and what do you think it's going to look like without her? Does it make a difference or not?
I think it'll make a difference because I think that it's kind of planned towards this one player. Like they don't give her calls. I don't know if any of you actually are watching the NBA playoffs, and I'm going to keep referencing the NBA because it's where all my ball knowledge is, but let me just fill you in. SGA is a player in the conference finals right now, and he shoots a lot of free throws. It's actually pretty laughable the way the man flops. I don't know if you guys seen the edits, but he flops. Steph Curry is a top 2 player in the NBA. He has one of the worst whistles in the NBA. He was the first player to score 50 points in a game with only 1 free throw attempt. That's the kind of whistle Steph Curry has. And so it's player-wise with these officials. I don't know what it is. I don't know, like, if there's money being funneled in, like, I wouldn't be opposed to it. You had a player betting under on himself. What was it, Jonte Porter? So, like, that's a thing in professional basketball. Why not in the WNBA? These refs make $16K a year. I was talking about that in my last video. $16K a year. And obviously it's a part-time job. You're only playing or officiating 6 months. But right, bro, you make more of that working at McDonald's. Like, seriously, like, it's not any real money. I wouldn't be surprised if there was something going on behind the scenes. Do I think that's the case? No, because I think professional leagues are professional, and I still have hope in humanity a little bit. I'm young. Let me be optimistic.
You haven't been totally jaded yet.
Yeah. So I don't think so. I don't think there's definitely not enough evidence to support any of that, but I wouldn't be surprised if it was happening based on what is going on. And I wouldn't be surprised if it was happening in the NBA too. Just there are certain players who have bad whistles, and it might not be money funneled in somewhere. It could just be these officials just, having too much emotions on the job. Like, there are certain players who get all in the official's face, like a Caitlin Clark. Her body language says a whole lot to these officials, even if she's not yapping, the shrug, all of that. The officials can see that, and if they don't like her, they're not gonna give her calls.
Okay, what did you think of the Now You Know whole hashtag Now You Know campaign for the league? Do you think they felt some kind of way? Do you think it has been played a factor in how they have been treated, or did you not think about
me? What does the Now You Know even mean?
Well, so the Now You Know was the Indiana Fever said it's not just a moment, it's a movement. And, we're here, we're ready to, we're here to take over. We're here to, it was that whole, so they use hashtag Now You Know a lot, but like on Twitter and stuff, they had a whole, it was really nicely done and stuff. But some people were wondering if that's Anthony. Okay, so Anthony Pachetti says it was smug. Some people feel like that caused some people to feel some kind of way and might be a reason why, say, Sophie Cunningham got slammed to the ground and different things like that. So it was a commercial. It's posts on graphics. It's a lot of stuff. I thought it was great. It showed a lot of swagger, but I wonder. But you can't answer that if you haven't seen the stuff. But yeah, it's been wild. Well, I don't know, but somebody said she needs to work on her body language. Somebody, I think they're referring to Angel. Instead of point forward, they said point backwards. Oh my goodness. that was clever. That was really, really clever. So going back to the New York game though, what did you see in the last? Let me go to all three of them. What did you see in the DeWanna Bonner when Caitlin drove to the basket? She got past Cloud. Jonquel stepped up. Caitlin dumped it off to DeWanna Bonner. What did you see?
I saw what everybody saw was a foul. Saw a foul. They didn't call it. And then, but the problem I had, when I broke down that film, I dedicated a whole portion of that video. It was like a 9-minute segment to those clips. What I was saying was like, you've already set a standard of how you're going to officiate late in these games, because you had a foul on Sabrina Ionescu where Lexi Hole was like straight up. She didn't even really touch her, and it was all initiated by Sabrina Ionescu. It was barely anything. If you call that foul, you set the standard for how you're going to officiate that game. Even at the highest level of basketball in the NBA, if you don't watch it, I'll let you know that there are some games where they allow you to hit more than in other games. There's certain teams that they allow to hit, and there's some teams they don't. But you have to set the standard early in the game how you're going to officiate for it to be fair every game.
Right.
And that was laughable. It was a disgrace. What did Stephanie White say? She said it was egregious.
It was egregious.
It was.
And she called it disrespect.
It was.
Now Anthony says Kita, I'm not sure how she pronounced it, kept saying it wasn't a foul. Here's the thing that Basil pointed out for me. Basil's in the chat, and he commented this on the video that I did. I don't know if he heard it anywhere else or he just happened to see it, but I hadn't seen it till I saw his comment. And I went over and checked it out, and I was blown away. And I said, he's got to be the detective. You know what it's like when you commit a foul and you put your hand up, acknowledging you made a foul. A lot of times you do that because you're trying to get the foul because somebody else, your teammates in foul trouble or whatever. But a lot of times you just call your own foul, hands up. Did you notice that on that call with DeWanna Bonner, Jonquel Jones' hand went up? You got to go back and watch. I didn't notice it either until he saw it from my footage, but I had paused it. So then I went to the WNBA.com or whatever so that I could watch it. And literally, you see that now the foul was committed by Cloud, really, but they were both kind of there. And so my guess is Jonquel hit her also, knew she hit her. And when the whistle blew, Jonquel does this. And then when she realizes that she didn't get the call, she did this. Well, her hand went up, and it is so wild. And I noticed that somebody else pointed it out in one of my comments also. And I said, yeah, Basil just showed me that. Hand went right up. And then when they realized it, she was just like, that's dirty right there. That's when the officials even you are going to acknowledge that you fouled, and there's no call. And she gets knocked to the ground. Now, I know DeWanna Bonner's look like she need a good double cheeseburger, bacon cheeseburger. It's like, give that girl a cheeseburger. But she was hit. So, and none of them, it's not like either of them were in foul. I mean, both of them had 3 fouls at the time, Cloud and Jonquel, but the hand went up. So that's just wild. Okay. So the next one with Lexi Hall, verticality, right?
Yeah.
Sabrina sold that thing.
Yeah. She initiated all of it. She lunged into her.
Yes.
But that's like a foul, even in the NBA. That the highest level of basketball, they're gonna call that a foul now. You initiate that contact. You see it with Caitlin Clark. She does it a lot. Sometimes they don't call it, but I think the last time she did it, where she did that pump fake and she went in for it, they call that a foul. But it's fair in my opinion when you get the defender jumping. But Lexi, she held her ground. There was a little bit of contact there, but I think that was great defense. What do you want her to do? Step back?
Right.
I don't know.
And she jumped a little, but she was straight up. And Sabrina made the contact, which of course in basketball, you do sometimes learn to initiate contact. But then she whacked her across the face. So she got whacked, and that's why if you see the video, Lexi's holding her tooth, and she got whacked in the face. So okay, so I'm seeing some comments. I'll go back to them now. I want to get to the last play. Cloud is 2.9 on the clock, right? Sophie Cunningham's inbound the basketball. Natasha Cloud, Caitlin Clark. What did you see?
I saw, for one, a bad play call. Like, there are moments where you want Caitlin Clark to play off ball. That's the moment where you want her to play ball. You want somebody to set her a really good screen. You come in, get it, fading away, shoot a shot. You have 3 seconds and you're dribbling it. You're already like, the play was already over. But she did get fouled. And so aside from what should have happened, she did get fouled on that play, in my opinion. There was a lot of touching going on there. And sometimes officials, they kind of like, it's the last play of the game and they're just like, we're just going to let them play. But I think that was a foul. And
that was
what irritated me, it was 4 fouls. There was the hand check. There was like the shoulder. It was a lot. There was a lot.
There was a lot. Yeah.
But it wasn't like, I would have been cool with that not being a foul if the standard for officiating in that game was like letting them play. But there were just so many tic-tac fouls that they were calling in that game. That's what irritated me.
Right. Yeah. Speaking of Basil again, because I just remember this, he commented during the game that what you want, I'm not sure exactly how he said it, but he said what you want is consistency. So it's like, you're not going to get perfection, but you got to get consistency from these officials. It's like you said early in the game, as like I used to say to my players, you can tell how the officials are going to call the game. Supposedly, are they calling it tight? Are they calling it looser? And then you adjust accordingly. But in this league, with the officiating up and down, how do you adjust to what is not clear? Maybe that's what they're telling them. Like I said, Rachel DeVita did a whole video about the gentleman who said they get their orders. And he said in some of these cases, the officials' hands are tied. Got to watch the video. It's interesting. And I couldn't tell from her video, and somebody, if you know, you can tell in the chat. I couldn't tell if she was saying overall officials are kind of told like about multiple games, or if she was actually saying that game per game, these officials are kind of giving their marching orders. I couldn't tell exactly what it was. I'm sorry, we're missing. I know they got great comments going. Can't catch them all here, but I'm glad you guys are chopping it up. And let me see. So Rex A, thank you so much. I appreciate that. I have a feeling I missed some other people. Charlie, thank you. Charlie, thank you. Much appreciated. And if I miss someone else, it's certainly not intentional. It's just it's called multitasking. Chocolati Plays is in the house. Chocolati and I are going to be collaborating as well. As he says, let them cook. Let them cook now. So thank you for that. So appreciate it. And David, do you think the Timberwolves are done? Timberwolves are done. Now I haven't been watching it, so I'm gonna go with you. I only kind of been following the Knicks and the Pacers. What do you think of the Timberwolves? I don't even know what is it? What is the who's up and who's up by what?
Look, I'm still a take from my dad. I think my dad's watching. I'm still a take from my dad. That's what my dad was telling me yesterday.
Okay. He
said, man, every single time the Timberwolves score, OKC just come back and score, man. It's just too much. They got too much offense. And Ant, my personal take on Ant is that he's not aggressive enough. And he talks about it himself, like the dribbling, like just too much dribbling. Playing with the basketball, like you got to pick a spot and go, bro. Like he got so much talent, but like I feel like every single possession he's spending like 10 seconds just dribbling the basketball, not getting to his spot. That team is done. Because if Ant Edwards is going to get up 13 shots in a game, and then in the post-game interview, he's going to be like, I don't think I struggled. I feel like I made the right pass. You're not getting the point. The point is you need to be the offense. You need to find a way to get open. If you're not open and then you pass it to the person that is open, that's not necessarily making the right pass. The right play in that situation is for you to make yourself open, like a Caitlin Clark. Caitlin Clark's not open. She's not just going to pass the ball and just sit there. No, she's going to get herself open. She's going to call a screen, going to come off the screen. And needs to do more of that, but that's totally not WNBA. Good question.
So what is it now? Is it 3-1?
Yeah, it's 3-1.
Okay, that's 3-1. So Pacers in New York, who you got there?
Oh, Pacers. We love Indiana basketball.
Mhm.
Indiana basketball is lit right now. I'm such a Halliburton fan. Man, I'm so
Okay.
glad he rose up to the plate because after Steph, I've been looking for my guy. Hallie is my guy. I love the way they play. Nimhard, Neesmith, everybody. Indiana is crunk. The arena in Indiana reminds me of Oracle Arena. You know, that it's just crunk in there, man. I love Indiana. Indiana all the way. They're gonna win tonight. They play tonight, right?
Yeah, they do play tonight. I haven't
Yeah, they're
watched.
winning tonight.
I haven't watched this series at all, and I've told people I'm kind of in that. I'm a New Yorker originally. I'm in the Midwest now, but I'm from New York, born and raised in New York, and so I grew up watching Mark Jackson um and from St. John's, even when he was in St. John's, and Patrick Ewing and number 20 Allen Houston. You know what I'm saying? So I go back and I remember watching Mark Jackson. I had no left hand when I was a point guard in high school. I had no left, no left, no left. So they could shut that down. But I remember watching Mark Jackson one day. I had to play this team again the second time. We might have had to play back to back with the same team. And Mark Jackson, he backs you down. He'll turn his back, and that's not ideal. Obviously, you want to see the floor, but it worked for him. And I did that one day and just went off. And I was like, yes. So, I used to be back in high school a Knicks fan, but I'm near Indiana, close, not far from Indiana, a few hours from Indiana now. So it's like I kind of like to see the Pacers do it. So I'm like in this little conundrum, I guess you call it. But it'll be interesting to see what happens. All right, so let me get to some of these others real quick. I know I'm missing some people here. I got Charlie, and we could probably talk all day, but I know we can't. Uh-oh. Please read my other super chat. Kelly, I don't even know where that super chat went. Thank you so much for that. It's flying so fast. I don't even know if can I find it?
Man, shout out Kelly. He was in the comment section like hours ago. I was looking. Kelly been here, man. Shout out Kelly, man.
Kelly Marie.
Got his name back.
Kelly is a woman. Kelly Marie. If that's the same
one.
Sorry,
Kelly. Miss
Basil.
Kelly.
I'm famous. Adrienne mentioned me. So Kelly, I excuse me, I missed it. Oh man, that's the thing. The chat, they get going in the chat, and it's like I've had people at times say, "Why are you ignoring me?" I'm like, I can't keep up. I'm not ignoring you. I'm just conversing. So I don't know where that is, but feel free to throw it back in there. She said, "Please read my other super chat." And I like to call out especially the members of the channel. So I'm sorry, Kelly. Cece's dad made negative comments about officiating in Brazil match. Refs are doing payback on Cece since that moment. I would agree that might be true if they weren't bad anyway. So, but I don't know, maybe. But anyway, you said something. You said something about you said your dad. You said something. Your dad's watching. So, do you and your dad just sit and talk sports?
Yes.
You did talk a lot of sports. Did you learn a lot from him in sports?
Yeah, I think he's a pretty enjoyable person to talk sports with because he's not biased. Usually, like when I take a position, he's going to take the other position. But then if I take that other position, he'll switch it up and take the opposite position. So he'll challenge me, but like he's willing to give in at times. There's times where he is just trying to like, just push me to my limits.
Yeah. Yes.
But
well, God bless you. I've always found that incredibly annoying. So like if it's a team I'm really into and then somebody just purposely like sits there and cheers for the other team, I'm always like, argh. So is he a WNBA watcher?
He's not, but he watches Caitlin Clark. He watches my videos. He talks about I keep him filled in. He's one of those guys that never watched WNBA ever. And he was like, man, that Caitlin Clark girl, bro, she could. That's like everybody though. Like he's a middle-aged man, you know, who works a job, right? And so like he's not focused on that, but he sees Caitlin Clark. He's like, well, I want to tune in, man. Man, that's crazy, you know. So that's just what's going on.
Yeah, yeah. Okay, so I got to get to this comment April put up. April G. She was one person who has sent me one of your videos just recently. She said thoughts on Pacers winning the series. Well, you just said the Pacers, but I'm going to take her question a step further. So, okay, who's coming out of the who's coming out? OKC's losing. I haven't been paying attention.
OKC is winning. They're
Is
up
winning.
3-1.
So okay, so OKC and Pacers. Who wins that?
I want to see Hallie and them boys do it. It's going to be tough against OKC. They got a really good defense, but Indy has a good defense too. It's going to all depend on how many stops can you get on those boys over there in OKC. Can you get them off their game? Can you get some stops? And then can you get those rebounds and push the pace? Now, the Pacers have improved since last year when it comes to pushing the pace. I mean, when it comes to pushing the pace. I mean, when it comes to playing in a half-court offense. So, like, when they're not pushing the pace, they are better now. It's going to be tough to beat them boys in OKC, but I think the Pacers can do it because they've got a whole lot of guys. It's going to be a good match because, like, in OKC, you got a lot of guys that can give you a lot, and the Pacers, they got more guys that can give you a lot. Like, Nemkart can give you 30, Neesmith can give you 30, Halliburton can give you 30, Miles Turner can give you 30, Obi Toppin can dang near give you 30. He can give you 25 on a good night. You know, you got a whole lot of guys. TJ McConnell might give you 17 and 12. You know, like, you got a lot of guys that can go out there and do a lot, but it's going to be tough to beat OKC. That's going to be the biggest challenge, and I don't know, man. I want the Pacers to win.
As I'm listening to you, I got to ask, I know you said this is the first time you've done a live stream. Have you ever considered doing I go live for the games. Have you ever considered going live for the games?
Yeah, it's something I want to do. Right now, I do work a job. And so, like, I'm looking to quit my job soon because I can do it. I'm young. I don't have any bills to pay right now. So I could quit my job.
Enjoy it. It goes fast.
Yeah. So I think I'm looking to do it here shortly because people have been like, man, we want to see you do more. And I want to start covering the game. So that's going to be something that hopefully we can do soon.
Yeah. Okay, cool. All right. Oh, Professor, thank you. Thank you for that super sticker. That alliteration got me right there. Okay. Will the Lynx get a fifth title? I think they can do it, but New York looks so good right now. But I think the Lynx, I think they should have had one last, 2024. They were robbed. The officials robbed them. And Kathy Engelbert in her New York City skyline dress, she was all about it. All right, let me run through a few. I don't want to keep them too long. There is a game. Don't y'all know there's a game you guys supposed to be watching right now in the WNBA? Do y'all feel the traditional NBA superstar is dead and gone? I'm going to defer because I haven't been paying attention to the NBA in a long time. The traditional NBA superstar is, and by traditional, I don't know if he means like your Kobe Bryant or if he means like your Shaquille O'Neal. I was a Lakers fan, by the way. After I was a Jordan fan. So I'm not quite sure what he means. How do you see that? Your traditional NBA star? Like
I just want to say this is a good question. This Chocolate guy, he makes content, right? Or she?
Oh yeah, he does. Yes. Yeah, he does. You got to check him out for sure.
That's a good question. And I do think the traditional star is gone because of social media now. It's just it used to be a time where you could have a player be your superstar, be your perfect player, and you only have him out there for like, one time a week, maybe like a 30-minute segment you might have of him in a week, of him actually chatting and people actually getting a feel for this player off the court. And most of people's opinions on player were just them on the court. Now it's just so much social media stuff. Like, Jason Tatum could be that guy, but people hate him so much because of off the court stuff. Like, he listens to Drake and he's like a light skin, that's young people stuff. But like, that's why they don't like Tatum. He's a crybaby, things of that nature. And SGA, he probably wouldn't be well liked at all because of just like the flopping. There's a lot of people who just don't like that on the court, but they love SGA because he's an aura farmer. That's also young people stuff. I'm giving you young people stuff, but They got the clips of SGA. He walked by a teammate. I think the teammate passed out, but the teammate fell to the ground. And they were like, it was his aura. He's just so much off the court, made the teammate fall down. Things like that is what creates superstars these days. And I think there's just going to be a whole lot of superstars because there's a whole lot of people to like. Back in the day, you could really pick who was going to be your star. Like they're trying to do that with Anthony Edwards, but you can't really do it anymore because like there's just a lot of other players who talk off the court. And you can't just like pick who you want to broadcast. People are going to be broadcasted regardless because they have their own platforms. And I'm giving you a lot, but that's just what it is now.
Mm-hmm. Okay, so I'm just looking at a comment. Thank you, Kelly. Somehow you can do it. I've been in other channels with several thousands watching, and they will go back for hours of super chat backlog. Well, God bless them. I mean, God bless them, you know? So I'm not other people. I'm me. I do what I can, and I'm assuming you appreciate that because you're here, right? Right. All right. Y'all know we do what I can over here, but I do have other responsibilities. So Araceli says, Adrienne and Carter, at this point, I truly believe the league officials won't allow the Fever to run through the entire league like a freight train, winning by 20 to 40 points, especially the defending champ. Yeah. I'm kind of I don't have a disagreement with that at all. I think they're gonna have to be they cannot be in a situation where it is close at the end, Carter, and need an official to do the right thing. You know, but of course that becomes even more difficult when you look at like a discrepancy 32 times to the line, New York, 15 times Indiana. So then you're kind of getting smacked around in the midst of the game, and you can't have a slow start and then you're digging out of a hole. Speaking of, my mind just went to Michaela Timpson. A lot of people want to see her out there. What are you thinking?
I made a whole video about her. I want to see her out there. She has a lot of raw talent, man. I made a video about her, I think like in the preseason. I think before, I don't know if it was like in the preseason or before the preseason, but I just did like a analysis of her in college. She just has a lot. She's a great interior defender. I think she was like the best in the state. She makes layups around the rim. She's 10 times better than Angel Reese at doing that, but she does miss layups sometimes. But I think that's all WNBA players. They just don't make layups sometimes. But she just does a lot. And I think she's, you gave Turner a chance out there. I would have gave that chance to Michaela Timpson. I think DeWanna Bonner's kind of not playing that 4 spot well. If she continues that way, give Michaela a chance out there. You can even put her at the 5 if you want to. When you have AB on the bench, and instead of putting Dantas in the game, go ahead and put Timpson in there. She's going to be a better interior defender, but she is a raw talent. So like the idea that she's going to come in and just save everybody is just not true. She's young. Right. There's a reason she was 19. So
yeah, for real, there is. I'm figuring there's got to be something that they're seeing in practice where they don't feel like she's ready yet, that we don't get to see. But I would like to see her too. But I'm sure they had a talk with her ahead of time that our minutes would be limited. Okay, I'm gonna run through some of this and then I gotta end. There is a game that you're gonna be watching tonight, and I'm gonna wrap this up. The two of you collaborating was not on my bingo card. JC Hawkins Poet said, love to see it. Thank you so much. Thank you. Dean, thank you. Thoughts on Stephanie White saying Clark's injury gives them opportunities to find their identity, play a different way. CC gain different. Well, we were talking about that. And Sophie Cunningham said the same thing too. It is true. Like if you're not in the game, you got to make the best of it. So what do you see on the game? And as Stephanie White also said, Caitlin can give them perspective. What is she seeing? Little assistant coach going on. So I think you got a problem with that, Carter?
Nah, not at all.
Yeah. I mean, I just think, it's not like she's happy about it, but when given lemons, you got to make lemonade. All right. Yeah, David, will Indiana ever get an NHL hockey team? Good. Thank you for that, David. I don't know. I know we have some people in here who do like hockey, and Chocolati is back. Let me see. Great answer, my guy. Y'all be sure to split this. LOL. Oh, split that. LOL. Yeah. I was like, okay. All right. Bernie's book tour. The W has to do something about this rough foul style of play. Yeah, for sure. All right, everybody. I'm gonna trying to wrap up with the super chats and stuff, and let him get going. And also, I don't know. Some of you probably can't wait to watch the WNBA game that's on right now. all y'all. Adrienne, Carter, Ben, Venno, Rachel Demita should consider doing a weekly live podcast. Woo, they talking weekly. Thank you for that. I spoke too soon. All right. All right, everybody. So appreciate you all so much. Lindy, the collab was great. Any final words that you have? Where can people find you, Carter? Other than like I have this scrolling across the screen as far as your YouTube goes, but other social medias?
I made my first Twitter tweet today. It's been the first tweet in a long time. You can go follow me at the King Cartier on Twitter. THE King KING and then CARTIER. Cartier is my nickname. You can call me Cartier if you want to.
I'm gonna
I'll be on Twitter.
Tell me that again. I'm gonna tell me what it is. It's
the
at,
King,
right?
At the
King.
Cartier, CARTIER.
All right, so save, and then and that's you on Twitter.
It's me on Twitter.
Okay. So it says and at the King Cartier. Got that right? And
at the King Cartier.
Yeah. So we got both of them there, the YouTube as well as the at the King Cartier. So make sure you guys just blow up his YouTube, get up there and because he's got a lot of knowledge that is just like boom, 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 boom. Like I was really, when you were talking about the Caitlin to Aaliyah and that whole thing, how Aaliyah gets her point so easy. So it's gonna be interesting. All right, everybody. So yeah, I apologize if I couldn't get to everybody, but it's it bees like that. Excuse my bad English. Yeah, Tool. Welcome, Tool. So final words from you. Final words about about this, the injury, the fever, the league, anything. I'm putting you on the spot. We didn't pre-plan any of this and then coming here with any notes. We're just chopping it, just talking. How would you leave it?
Two things. For one, appreciate you. I appreciate your content. I like the way you approach your content. Also, you're a Christian, and I like that. I'm a Christian too. I like how you keep it balanced.
Yes.
And I appreciate everybody in the comment section.
I knew there was something different about you. Yes.
There you go.
Yep.
Yeah. And everybody in the comment section. Appreciate you all. And then one more thing, Boru, I think that's the name, man. Shout out to you, man. I think he's been fighting for his life in the comment section. I've been looking, man. We love you, Boru, man.
No wonder he tried to come after me too. He said the truth hurts. Oh man, but no, Boru he's usually in the comments. He's solid, but we go after it sometimes. Not with Boru, just with other folks. It's lively in there. They go after it. So thank you for saying that too. I appreciate all of you. Yeah, Kara said we love Boru. How you not gonna love somebody with the kitty cat there? I got mine, one of them right here sleeping. I appreciate all of you. Even when we disagree, we agree far more than we disagree. So let's go Fever. Are you still a Let's Go Fever guy, Carter?
Let's do it. Let's go Fever.
Let's go
Indiana basketball.
Yes. All right. Thank you again. Appreciate you all so much. I will catch you next time, God willing. God bless you abundantly.